So in this video, we are going to look into the new funnel builder from GoHighLevel. So we are in the funnels now, and on the first step, we go create a new funnel, and we are going to create from blank. So once this loads up, this will load the new interface, which you can see is very minimal, and the major changes are the sections, rows, elements, and all the elements have moved to the left, and their corresponding options have moved to the right. So you will see that in a second. So let's first go through all the elements that we can add to the canvas. So here on this, when you click on this plus sign, it will appear and disappear all the elements that you have access to, and then you can select if you want a section or a row or an element. If you have saved, you can also access your global sections and section templates from here. So let's begin with adding a section to the page. So when you click on sections, you will see there are 4 options. One is full width option, wide option, medium, and small. Usually we create websites using a full width option. So let's create one using full width. You can either drag and drop it or just click on it. So I'm just going to click this one, and you can see there's a full width section appeared here. So now you can go back to this plus sign, or you can click on this green button to add a row. When you click on this, you can see the options have come to add 1 column, 2 column, or 3, 4, 5, 6 column rows. Since this is the hero section of the web page, we are going to select 1 column row. Now if you click on this column, you can see on this right hand side all the options for the column has appeared. Similarly, if you click on this section, you will see this is the option for the sections. So that's the major change, like you can add all the elements from the left side and then change their options on the right hand side. So now let's go and add an element inside the row. Let's add what's here on the first row. Let's click on heading, and we are going to add heading here. So now we have a section. Inside that section we have a row. Inside this row we have an element called heading. So if you want to change the heading, you can just double click on it, and this is the new heading, right? And then if you want to make it bold, italics, and everything, the options are here. Just select the thing and then click on bold. It's already bolded, and now italics, strike through, underline, all those changes can be done from here. But if you want more advanced settings, you just go here on the right hand side and you can change whatever you need to change. You can change the name of the element itself. You can create opacity, but we don't need that for this case. And you can add a text shadow if you want. So there is a shadow. Now if there's a stronger shadow, if you want to keep it wider, you can click on this. And you can keep it left side, center, right side, justified. And you can also add a box shadow. If you wish, the whole element will get a box shadow. And you can change the size of the font. This is for the desktop, this is for the mobile. So you can increase it, you can decrease it. And you can also adjust the global font settings using typography type. You can either choose a headline font, a custom content font, or a custom font. If you want to add an icon, you can click here and add an icon at the front on the left side. And then these are the color options. You can change the color of the text itself by choosing any of these options. You can add a padding, margin, and all that. If you go to advanced, you'll see few advanced options like adding a border, adjusting the line heights, and transforming the text. You can make all uppercase by clicking this, and you can decide if you want to show it on mobile or desktop or both from here. So that's about heading. Now if you want to add another new element, you can either click on this plus sign, or you can go back to this plus sign and click subheading. Let's add subheading. This is a subheading, right? And similar options will be on the right side. You can change the font size, change the color, and adjustment to the left or right or whatever. You can change all that just like you did with the heading. Same same goes with the paragraph. It will be a text, a longer text. You can select all, and then you can make it justified so that it looks like a column, or you can make it go towards left, center, right if you want. So all these three have similar settings. Now we can go into bullet list. If you want to add a list of items, you use the bullet list. So here is some stuff, and then you go at the end and press enter. You can add another. Here is another stuff. Alright, and you can keep on adding as much as you want. And if you want to change any of the settings, you can go here and adjust the font size. You can make it bigger if you want, and you can also adjust the paddings and stuff like that. And if you go to advanced, you can adjust the line height so that it moves a bit further up. So that's about bullet list. And now we have is a button. So everyone needs a button in their website. So you click and drag button here, and if you want to change the button, any of the style of the button, you have actually some themes you can select from. If you click on the theme, you can click this, it changes by itself. So if you like this theme, just select that. If you want more granular control, you can go to general, and then you can change the background color to whatever color you want, and it will change. And you can adjust the letter spacing of the button. You can add a text shadow, you can change the font size, you can add subtext as well. So if you go further down, so you can add an icon if you want from here, and if you want to put an icon after, this is like before. If you want to put an icon after, you can just select an icon and it goes after the text. And these are the color options. You can change the color of the button text from here, and subtext color here. So where do you add text and subtext? So if you go further down here, you change the button. Whatever you type here will appear on the button. And you can also add a subtext if you like so. And you can change the settings of subtext color from here. And if you want this button to open a pop-up, you select from here, open a pop-up. We'll come back to the pop-up later. Or if you want to open the website URL, you select from here. If you want to hide an element, if you want to scroll to an element, you want to go to the next step in the funnel, or any step in the funnel, you select these two. You can also add a one-click upsell and downsell. You can also make this button to go to a certain number, either as a call or as an SMS. You can also add email addresses, and you can give access or remove access to membership sites. All such settings are here. So these are pretty self-explanatory. You can check it out at your own time. And these are the themes like I mentioned before. And you can also have a little bit more settings for the button here. You can make it all upper caps or lower caps, or button effect. You can add some effect. I don't think you can see this effect, but rocking effect you can see. Bounce effect, you can see the bounce effect. Elevate and wobble are when you hover over it. So whatever effect you fancy, you can select from here, and you can adjust the shadow, you can adjust the background styles, you can make it line flat so it becomes a flat. There's only a line border line, and if you want to add a full border, no border, you can do so from here. If you have a full border, it'll have the further options how to select the border width, border radius, and all that. So if you make it 50, it'll become a more rounded one. If you make it 5, you can see there is a clear border around it. So those are the settings for the button. Now if we go back to add more elements, we will see a form. If you have set up a form before, all you have to do is drag and drop wherever you want. Since we don't have a form on this page, it wouldn't appear, but if you had a form, or if you create a form by going to the form builder, it'll appear here. And for the form, it will have a few options like redirect after the form submission. You can use the action from the form builder itself. If you set redirect in the form, it will follow that. But if you want to override it, and if you want the form submission to go to website URL instead, you can select from here. You can also make it to go to the next step in the funnel by selecting this. So that's about form options, and these are the pretty standard options. Now we are coming to the blog post. If you have a blog post, it'll show like this. These are the sample ones that GoHighLevel has provided. So now we have two options as of now. One is the standard option, which will look like this, and a compact option, which will look like this. These are the current options available to style how you want this section to look like. And you have an option to select a category. If you have category like, for example, digital marketing or Facebook advertising, something like that, if you select one of the categories, it will pull all the blog posts related to that category and show it here. Now that we don't have a category, we can't really show it, and it's a pagination. You can show how many items you want to show in a page, and then you have more stories, which is the show more button. You can change the text here, and you can also adjust the color of the text here. And in the advanced, you have some spacing options. You can adjust how it looks here. You can move it a little bit more, keep it together, whatever you want. You can also add border, and you can also make it visible on mobile or desktop. Now comes the category navigation. If you have categories like I mentioned earlier, you could use it as a navigation item. So this would be one category, this would be another category, and this would be a different category. And then you also have a search bar to search your blog posts. So here, if you click on this and go further down, you can see the items that mentioned here, and that's where you select your category URL or category itself if you have set that up. And you can make it open a new tab or just in the same tab, and then you submit. And you can change the name title here. If you don't want it, you can click delete it. If you want one more new category, just duplicate it or just add one, however you like. And you can hide the search bar if you don't want, but you can also keep it. So those are the options for the navigation bar for the blog post. You can move it further up, you can add more vertical spacing, and you can change the font. And in advance, you can add borders and show in different devices. Now we are going to the video part. It's pretty easy to add a video in GoHighLevel. You just select a video, the video appears, and then what you have to do is go further down and select the source. If you have YouTube, select YouTube. If you have Vimeo, Vistia, custom embedded one, HTML hosted video, you select whichever you want. If you have hosted video, you click on this and you click on select video and upload it and select a thumbnail. Your video will show here. If you have YouTube video, just add your YouTube video URL here. And if you want to make it autoplay, select this. But if it's autoplay, it'll start, the sound would be muted by default. Just remember that. And you can keep it full width, 3/4 width, half width, however you want. And you can also add a box shadow around the video itself. In the advanced, it's the usual stuff. Now comes the image. It's very similar to video. Just go to its options and then click on the image upload button, and then you upload your image here. You can adjust the width, height, and all that. You can also add a SEO alt text talking about what this image is, and also you can make the image to open a pop-up or to go to a website when you click on the image. If you don't want that, you just keep it none. And you can have some sort of themes as well. If you want to put a border around your image, you just select one of the themes here, and then you can see it changes. And you can make image radius if you want. Make it, if it's a square, it would be perfect circle. If you just want a round a corner, you can make like that. And you can add a border if you want. You can add a shadow, and you can make it black and white as well. So these are the extra additional settings you have for images. After that, we are going to FAQ. GoHighLevel has made very easy for us to add frequently asked questions. So you can just double click here and ask this question. So you can just change the title just by double clicking here. If you want to change the content of it, you just go to list item 1, then it opens up. So here you update the content. So here will be the question 1, and then this would be the answer 1. And you can keep on adding more. If you can duplicate it, you can add more. And you also have an option to show image here, but if you don't want an image, you can just hide it. And you can do it in each of the questions. Now we have a couple of options in terms of the styling. So this is one option you have. Another option is separated, so it adds a bit of a border and gives a bit of space in between. If you want to make it contained, you can do so, or make it simple. So you have like 3 options you can play with. And now we go to advanced option. You can actually see there are a few more custom options. For this, you can add this icon for the open and close. Here, close is chevron down. You can see this down arrow, and for the open one is the chevron up, which is this arrow. You can change to right or left if you want, but left makes more sense, so you'll keep it left. And you can change the colors, you can change the font, you can also change the spacing, and you can add borders and shadows just like to any other elements. So that's about FAQ. Now we are going to the code section. Code section is pretty self-explanatory. If you have a code, you add a code section. You can add HTML or JavaScript or even CSS code here. So you open code editor, and you add your code here and save it. So sometimes you won't be able to preview your code like this. It will show like this. In that case, you just click preview and a new page will open up, and you can see how your code looks like on the front end. There aren't much advanced settings here. So that's about code block. Now we are going to the survey. Survey is just like the form. It's if you have a survey, you select survey and it will appear here, and then you can control what will happen after you submit the survey. You can either use the action from the survey builder itself, or you can redirect them to website URL or the next step in the funnel. There aren't much to do in the advanced settings. And now we are going to the calendar. Just like form and survey, if you have a calendar, it will appear here. You can select one calendar and it will show up here, and then you can select the calendar here as well. And if you have an action from the calendar, like if you submit this form, you can either redirect them to website based on the calendar settings, or to another URL from here, or to a next step in the funnel from here. Same like form, survey, and calendar, they are all similar. Now we have a cool thing called map, which is pretty cool if you ask me. What happens is that it brings the Google map straight to your page, and what is even cooler is if you click on this and go to the open search box, you can actually search a location. Now I'm in Sydney, so I'm just going to search Sydney. So you can see Sydney has appeared. Now you can zoom in. Oops. If you go here, you can just zoom in and save. Now I think I've zoomed in here as well. So you see, now you have your location on the map. How cool is that? You can control the height, width, and everything from here. You can make it smaller, bigger, and you can make it open in a new tab. If you click on this, you can open the Google Map on a new tab, which is, I would suggest we do that. And in the advanced, there aren't much. Now that we are done with the maps, we are going to SVG. SVG is more like icons, but you have more control in terms of editing the colors and all that. So if you go here, you can see open SVG editor, and when you click on an element, you can actually change the color of the element, and you can make it your own. If you can add your brand colors here, and then the SVG icon looks on brand for your web page. So you can also adjust the height and width. If you want to click on it and go somewhere, you can do that here. There isn't much advanced option for SVG. And now we are coming to reviews. If you have Google Calendar and Google Business Profile connected, you'll probably be able to pull all the reviews here, and then you will be able to show here, and there aren't much options. Now since I don't have it connected, you can't see any, but if you connected it, you will see all the options here. So now we are going to the countdown timers, right? So this is a countdown timer where you can set the date from a calendar. So if you go here, you can select a date from the calendar on 18 Sunday 12 o'clock in New York time zone. You can change any time zone you want. I'm not going to find my time zone. Okay, it's here. and you can change the font size also if you want, and this is for the mobile. And then once this time hits 0, when it expires, you can make it redirect to a URL, or you can show or hide an element. If you're saying like this offer ends on this time, and then you had a coupon code and you don't want to show it after this time, you can hide that element, or you can show a new element. And then when you select that, you see you can hide this element, you can show this element. You decide which element to show by clicking here and then selecting that element. Now that we are on the elements, that I would like to add one more thing here. Now you see there's an element name title here, so it'll be a good idea to rename your elements to a more descriptive name, especially when it comes to the sections. So let's call this hero section, for example, and then we have a first column. So for every column it'll say first column or second column. You won't be able to realize after a while when you have so many columns. So we can say first column hero section, something like that. So when you come to places like this where you have to select an element, it'll be easy for you to understand, oh, it's a hero section, it's a first column row, or it's a first column hero. So that makes it easy for you to pick the right elements when you need it. So that's that. And now we have few of the spacing options you can adjust, and in advanced there is nothing fancier there as well. Now we are going to the minute timer. What happens here is that instead of selecting like a calendar date, what you can do is you can select your time zone, and then you can select the minutes. So this is unlike the previous one, you can't select a date. It happens like today, or you can always, this always refreshes to like 45 minutes, for example. You can have this on a page, and this is like always countdowns from 45 minutes. And then once it expires, you can redirect them or show, hide, whatever. And then you can, here you have the option to auto reset it or auto expire it, or hide timer, show element. You can hide this timer and show an element, and you can also set the cookie so that it doesn't automatically reset every time. And there aren't much advanced options. And now we are going to the day timer, which is very similar, but here you can select the time, 5 a.m. in this time zone. Then it starts to count down. Once it counts down, you can redirect them to this or that. So depending on your use case, you can use any one of these 3 countdown timers. Now comes the navigation menu bar. So if you go further up, if you want to add a menu, this is where you do that. Now you can see there's a logo, and that's your business name, and then there are menu, just like a website. So you adjust the menus here. You can click on this and change the name. You can add a URL and all that. If you want to add a new item, you click on this and new menu item would appear here. You can add the URL, or you can make them go to a step in the funnel, or you can open a pop-up. And now if you in the mobile view, this thing will become a menu icon, so you can select which icon you want. It's by default, it's set as the hamburger menu icon, and you can select the colors and all that. If you want to hover over the menu item and show a different background color, you can select it here. Now if you want to show this logo or not, you can select from here. If you don't want to show it, just select toggle this on and off. If you want to show the logo, you can select the image from here and then set the height and width from here, and you can also send the people to the home page by go to website URL and then giving the website URL name here. So that's pretty much about the menu, and you can adjust the border and drop down spacing and headline. If you don't want the headline, you can turn it off from here, and if you want to move everything around, you can reverse it, but that wouldn't make sense. So that's about the menu. Now we are coming to divider. If you want add a divider in between these two, you have that there, and then you can make it 100% or 10%, make it thick, make it thin, and if you can make it dotted, dashed. You can't see it. See, there's a dot, there's dash, and there's a solid line. So that's about the dividers. Nothing to do here. And then comes a other cool thing called progress bar. Progress bar is pretty cool. Why, you ask me? Because you can show like someone is progressing through something. You go to theme and select one of the themes, and now it's more animated, and you can select this text. You can change it to whatever you want, waiting, progressing, go next, or whatever. And then you can select the percentage. So you can select 10%, so it becomes shorter, 20, 30, 70. So what happens is that if you have like a funnel page with different steps, so on the first step you could say like 20% completed, and when they go to the next page you can say like 40% completed. So they know that there are a few more pages in this step and I'm going towards the last page. So this gives a continuity to a funnel. You can also add this to a form builder or a survey, so it gives you that survey is progressing. Pretty cool stuff. You can add shadow if you want, and you can make it medium size, large size. You can select the color so that it shows like, oh, this is the whole box and all that. These are the advanced options, these are the general options. So that's progress bar. Now comes image feature. It's more like a content box. It comes with the image, heading and text, but you can hide if you don't want image. You can just go further down and change it. So for example, like if you want to change the layout to 70-30 or 60-40 or 50-50, you can do so. If you want to flip the way to make it image here and text here, that will happen by doing so. And if you want to click on the image and open something, you can do so from here. And then this is where you update image. If you go to theme, you have the theme for the images. If you go to advanced, you can add the themes around the image. You can make it round, circle, image shadow, image effect, and all that. So that's about this content box. Now we are coming to the order elements. There are two-step order form and one-step order form and order confirmation. Let's look at the one-step order form. So if you want to sell something, you should have an order form in your page. So this is the one-step order form looks like. Everything happens in one step. That's why it's one-step order form. Now if you select this and you can adjust the corner sizing and all that a bit if you want. And after the sale action, what to do, go to the next step or go to URL or go to a specific step. You can select those, but the more important things are here in advanced. So you can change this shipping and your info text here. So whatever you type in would come here. Same like upgrade, change here. And now if you want to show this company details, you can show it or you can hide it. So then it gets hidden. So if you want to collect the company name and details, you can just show it, otherwise you hide it. And here then comes, you can change the full name to something else, email address, so it'll change the placeholder. If you want to show the phone number, you can show it, otherwise you can hide it, so it'll be only full name and email address. Now if you don't want to collect the shipping address, you can just hide it. You can just hide the shipping. Now it will be full name, email address, and the stuff you're buying. So if you have a product that you ship, you can show the shipping and then collect full address, city name, and you can change all the text here. Payment, this is payment. These are items, price, item, price, amount, and 100% secure. So this is that one. And you can enable postcode, so it collects postcode. You can enable cart mode so that you can keep on adding more than one product. You can include product description or exclude it. You can enable an order bump. Order bump is something that you have a small box here. If you tick that, it gets added to your cart. So if you want to make a product as an order bump, you select that product from here, select a product, and that becomes your order bump. And then you have your headings and descriptions here, and you can also add an image if you feel like. And once you save it, that becomes your order bump. You can enable the coupon code by toggling this on and off. And sticky contact is like if it's a contact is already there, already present, they don't have to fill out all the details, it will be already filled out for them. So if you want to make someone a new contact on every purchase, you can toggle this on, otherwise no. And if you want to validate if their email address is fake or not, you can validate it by toggling this on. So that's about the one-step order form. Now we can make this into a two-step. That's where you add the two-step order form. So in this you can see it's the same stuff. There is shipping and your personal details, but shipping is in the first step. You can only see these items. You don't see the payment page yet. So once you finish all this, and when you click on go to step 2, this your info will appear. So how do we change that? You have to go to the advanced settings, and this is the options for step 1. And when you click on step 2, you will see the options for step 2 will appear here. It's the same like one-step order form, but in 2 steps, step 1 and step 2. So you change all the settings by going to advanced and going to step 1. You change the headings and stuff like that on step 1, and then you go to step 2 and change whatever you need to change. So that's about order forms. Now once you make an order, you want to show the people that what they ordered. That's when the order confirmation comes. Actually, you put the order confirmation on the thank you page so that when they complete the order, they can go and see, oh, these are the items that I bought. These are very dynamic. These will get updated from the things they purchase, and the shipping details, if they had the shipping details given, it'll appear here. So there aren't much to change. You can show hide order title or not. You can change the order confirmation text, product text, price, and all that. And if you don't want to show the shipping details, you can hide it. That's gone. If you show it, you can change the heading of that. So that's about all the elements that you can play with on GoHighLevel as of now. And if you have selected, so we have a section, we built everything in one section actually, which is not how you do it anyway. But if you want to select this section and save it as a global section, you can do so. And you can also make this into a template and save it. If you did that, all of those will appear here. Right now, if you want to select a section, if you have like so many sections, you go here in this layers and you go to the page, and then you can see now we have a hero section, and inside the hero section we have one column row, and in that one column row we have other things like all the elements. So you can actually see the hierarchy here. If you have more sections, it will all appear here, and you can hide, delete, clone, save, select, save the section and all that from here. So when you click on save section, you can see, and then you give a name to this, and then you can add to either template or global section. That's how you save a section into the global section or section template folder. So this is about layers. And now if you go to the layer, and then you get another option called pop-up. That's where you add things to the pop-up. So you click on pop-up, and then you click one column, and then let's add the progress bar. If you want a specific thing, you can just search from here and then add here. So you see the progress bar is here. Now we could also add a form. We don't have a form. I think we have a survey. You could add a survey, then it'll appear like this. And now to give it a bit more context, I think we should add a heading. So complete this survey, right? So that's how you design things. This is how you design the pop-up anyway. You go to the layers and select the pop-up, and then you have the pop-up. Now if you go to pages, you can see we are working on the home page. If you have more pages, it will all appear here, and you can switch from one page to the other. So if you have a tracking code, this is where you add. If you have like a Facebook pixel, you add it here, or either in header tracking or in footer tracking, and then you click save, it'll be saved. Now we don't want the pop-up. If you want to go to Popup Settings, you can see on the right hand side you can add a background image. You can change the background color. You can disable the pop-up if you want, or you can close pop-up on clicking outside. Now only if you click here it'll close, but if you enable this anywhere, if you click, it'll close by itself. And you can select the full page or medium, small, however you like. You can change that. If you select this, when you are about to close the window, the pop-up will appear. That's show pop-up on exit. If you don't want that, just disable it. So that's about it. In advanced, you can add border, border width, border radius, and shadow and all that. So that's about pop-up. Once you're done with pop-up, just click this. It won't delete anything. It will still be here. I can just access it by clicking that. Now that's about tracking code. We have already seen that tracking code. Now we go to custom CSS. This is where if you have a custom CSS code, this is where you add the CSS and save it, and then your page will look according to the CSS. Now typography. This is a global settings that you change your headline font, content font, text color, and link color. You can select what are available from here. Select a Google font. There are plenty now. Select one and it'll apply it to your page on a global level. Now the background for the whole section, for the whole page, you can change the background color to, like, let's say this color, so the whole thing becomes that color. You can alternatively add an image as well. Now pop-up settings, we already seen it. And now SEO data. So this is where you add your title, description, keywords, author, and social image, and all that for SEO. So if you add title here, it will appear on your browser on top. And when you share something, the description and the social image will be shared along with the URL. So you adjust all that from here. Now if you have a custom code and you want to preview it, you just click here and you'll be able to preview it. Now that we don't have any custom code, we can't really preview it. So basically that's about the new builder. I would like to take a moment to go to the mobile editing as well. So if you click here, it goes to the mobile view. So you can see this button doesn't make much sense on the mobile view. We have to change the font size, and we are going to reduce the font size. It looks a bit better, but sometimes certain things won't make much sense. So if you want this a little bit smaller, you make it like for example, like make it 50. It looks alright on mobile, but when you go to the desktop, maybe it's too small. In that case, what you have to do is you go ahead and duplicate a section or an element, right? And then make it only for desktop or only for mobile. You do that by clicking the visibility here. So if both of them are selected, which means that it will appear in desktop as well as in mobile. But if you make it this, click on the desktop, so desktop is inactive now and only mobile is active. So if you go to mobile, you will still see this, but if you come back to desktop, you can't see it unless you make it visible. Where is it now? Yeah, it's gone. In mobile you can still see it, in desktop you can't see it, but when you click on it, it appears. So if you have like very difficult sections which appears good on desktop but doesn't appear good on your mobile, so the only option you have currently is go here, and you can go here and duplicate it and make this one appear only on mobile and this one appear only on desktop. So that way you have both of them and they will act independently to each other. If I make this bigger and go back to desktop, you will see this hasn't changed yet, right? So this is vice versa. If I make this 500, that's the biggest that goes, and goes back here and make it 10, right? This is still 500 and this is still 10. I hope that makes sense. So I think that's all about designing on the new builder. Site builder was helpful to you. I hope to see some comments and feedbacks from you. Thank you so much.